Hey, welcome to the second course video for the track Intro 3 from NF in his 2017 album Perception. I'm Musically Malnourished, and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. In these videos, we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music. So let's get in, see what all we're working with on this track. All right, on Intro 3, NF talks about his old fears and describes the changes he has made to conquer them. At the end of the track, NF realizes he can't fully destroy his fear because it is the root of most of his problems. Well, and the other thing that was really poignant, in what he was saying was that fear's trying to tell him, I'm actually part of your success. Like, you wouldn't be writing these things if it weren't for me, which is really interesting because fear in this song wants to be a friend to him, but it's not a friend to him. If anything, it's what's the word I'm looking for? An informant, maybe is a good way to say it, not a friendly informant. Because, and I've said this before, the past is a great place to learn from, a good place to visit, but a bad place to live. Even, again, if you live in the past in the great moments, they're good to go back and remember, to have context, to enjoy. But there are a lot of people that get lost in the best parts of the past. They're like, and they feel depressed about their present and their future. And they're like, man, if I could just go back to the glory days. And it's like, man, look upon those things with fondness, but recognize there is still hope for your future. And so if you live back there, you're going to rob yourself of present joy and future joy. The same thing if you go back to the trauma, to the difficulties, go back, and maybe you got to go back there and just struggle with them for a minute. Maybe you got to go back there and learn something, but let it inform your present and inform your future, not rob you of your present and your future. And so that was an interesting thing that he got into on this track. NF described the track as the second part of 2015 title track Mansion. Yeah, fully picked up on that. That's why I'm excited to get into the storytelling. How it's a continuation of the third verse, which dealt with fear. Intro 3 was first announced through NF's Twitter account, then confirmed by his song Outro. Listen to Intro 3, Trying to Kill My Fear. They'll get that in a minute. In an Instagram Live, NF described that Intro 3 was the hardest song he has ever attempted to write, taking him over 2 weeks to finish the song. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because you want to make sure that when you put these things out there, that you've really thought through all the angles and how you're communicating it and how somebody's going to take it, that hopefully they fully get the message you're trying to communicate. I saved Intro 3 for the album. It's one of the best songs I feel like I've ever written. I honestly was shaking in the studio when I recorded Intro 3. So real for me. Yeah, and that translated. It's really excellent. Okay, let's get up into the lyrics for a moment. What? Are you scared of me? It's embarrassing. If it wasn't for me, I love how it puts fear here up in the verse. You wouldn't have never wrote Therapy, which we just talked about a moment ago. It's been here for you, but how come you're never there? I've been here for you, but how come you've never been there for me? It's a little bit twisted, but I miss when you and I had scary dreams. See that right there, man? It's so maniacal. If you were to personify your fears, is like, hey, I'm always here for you. You're never there for me. And it's like, yeah, I know. I wish you wouldn't be. And you don't take joy in the scary dreams, but your fear does. I don't really want to talk about it. Well, that's too bad now, Nate. And then Nate says, shut up. He says, now where were we? And that kind of, too, it speaks to this like wrestling, right? You can't always control what's coming into your mind. You're going to have all kinds of thoughts and fears and insecurities that come into your mind, and they want to wreak havoc there, and then they want to find a place to live in your heart. So the ability to fight up here in your heart, up here in your mind and in your heart, that's really where the battleground is. Well, back in the day when you and I had it all mapped out in the basement, crying in your room like a baby, I wish Mom was here. We all do, so we wouldn't have to hear about it every single record. So write that too. That's fear giving him insecurities. It's like, stop talking about your mom, stop talking about your drama, stop talking about how hurt you are. You know, it's this mocking nature, and it does continue to call back to the previous albums. And probably also this comes from people, you know, probably people's comments about his writing, his records, and his content. You don't really want to change me. Yeah, I'm the one that made this happen. Do you really want to get rid of your main attraction? Which I think what was important in that is the recognition too that ultimately nothing is wasted in your life. That doesn't mean everything was good, right? The traumas that we go through are not good. And even from a biblical perspective, it's never God's approval on those things. Because you're like, well, why do bad things happen to good people? Part of that is just the reality of a fallen world, and that all of those things will be made right in the end. And that those things, those harmful things that happen to you, there are plenty of things that I think we are spared of that we probably don't even recognize. But there's no doubt, man, you can't look around in the world and not recognize the evil that exists, and also that sometimes evil people prosper. And that as much as we wish none of those things ever happened, it's the reality of this fallen world. And I know that you know, is a deeper subject, and a lot of people grapple with that, especially when thinking about God, thinking about Christianity. And there aren't necessarily easy answers for it. But I think one thing you can draw from it is if you'll look at, even outside of a Christian perspective, people within the world, we are most inspired by the stories of people persevering through their struggles, right? And so recognizing that those things ultimately aren't wasted when you put them in the hands of God, that he can take those. I mean, I've been hurt, I've gone through tragedy, and those things, they change you, you know, and you try to not let them ruin you. And that's where the Lord comes in and helps. But if you'll take those things and put them in his hands, they often become your greatest ministry to people. They are the things that you can draw wisdom from, that it's often in our comfort that we have to fight to remain wise. We have to fight to keep perspective. But it's in those difficulties, in those tragedies, that you begin to wrestle with them, and the Lord can help bring you out on the other end, victorious with them, maybe a little broken, but in the end victorious. And those things, then you encounter people walking through the same struggles or similar struggles, and you're able to offer comfort to them. Let's pack our bags and go back to Gladwin now. Yeah, it's time for the third record. You know, I got the content. I don't want to make you nervous, but it ain't like it used to be. We got a lot of people watching. You told me that you don't want me in your life. That's pretty hard to digest. So he's saying like, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to, you know, bring out all the fears and insecurities and anger again so we can make this record. And guess what? There's a lot of people watching you now. I told you I'd leave when we die, and we ain't died yet. And that is the truth in many ways. Like I was saying, is it's not that in most of these things, like take selfishness, for example, it's not that you just are selfish one day, unselfish the next. Now, there is growth, and I think there is a transformation, especially if you want to talk about salvation. When God fills you with his Spirit, you are a new creation in Christ Jesus. But within that, there's progress, there's learning, there's growing, and you'll have selfish moments. And if you're not careful, you will slide back into some of these ways that you used to live, that it is a continuous battle, a continuous learning, a continuous growing. And those things will not ultimately be gone until we're dead, right? Until we've finished our race, and then sin is no more. Therapy session was beautiful, Nate, but I'm wondering what's coming next. Yeah, get that stupid hat off your head when I'm talking to you. And it's like, it's revealing too fears, belittling and almost trying to take an authority over you. Like, get that off your head. You know, it's like, who are you to tell me that? You don't like the prison I built you? Yeah, you want to know what the funny thing is? You keep on talking to me like a stranger. We've been together since you were a kid. Took us from a no name, told you everything was okay. Now you're trying to cut me out like I ain't never been a part of it. I'm the heart of it. I made this whole thing. Yeah, I put us on the dope stage. You must have no brain. What's the point of having guns if you can't aim? What's the point of having blood with no veins? What's the point of having love with no pain? What I'm saying is, me without you doesn't make any sense. And I think that that's a thing that's dangerous too for many artists, to feel like, there was a song from Machine Gun Kelly or MGK. I'm trying to remember which one it was. It was off his Americana record, where he basically talks about self-sabotage so that he can continue writing. And I think you see that with a lot of artists. They feel like they have to remain in this tortured state. Like, well, if all of my songs are about dysfunctional relationships, I can't have a functional relationship because then I won't have anything to write about. And that's a lie. There are new things to write about, and sometimes the ability to look on at past circumstances, past struggles, or the struggles of others, and know what it's like to be in that place, and then speak from a place of authority, but still be vulnerable about that. I know I'm intense and controlling, but you need to learn how to cope with it. That's just the way it is. If you don't want me to live in your house, you shouldn't have let me move in. It's comfortable here and I like it. I got my own room and everything. It don't get better than this. You say you want to own your life, then wake up and take your own advice. Just mad because you know I'm right. Which NF has been open about some of those things, right? This feeling of hypocrisy, like I talk about these things, but then I'm still dealing with them. And that's the struggle that any person goes through, especially like any pastor. I think that, yes, there should be an amount of victory over things in your life, right? You don't want to be a hypocrite, but you're also in progress. And so, yes, you deal with your own heart as you're speaking and preaching about things, and you let God give you perspective, give you strength, give you victory, but you, again, are still speaking out of a place in progress. Yeah, I'm flattered you put me in mansion, but you should have told him I'm right. Should have told him right. Held your hand on the coldest night. So he's saying, like, I've been the friend for you. You didn't tell him about the times you and I used to hold the mic. So again, this vulnerability of being in progress. I mean, what are you, out of your mind? Because both of us will be. Come on, let's go outside. Is this what you wanted? Both of us out in the open? Let's do it then. I mean, why are you doing this? I know that you're mad, but I'm not in the mood for this. We got a record to drop, so why are you acting like I'm not a part of it? Hey, where's my shovel at? Probably out back where it always is. You can't get rid of all of me. I'm the reason why. This is NF again. Nah, shut up. I don't want to hear another sentence. Hey, I'm NF. Is it me or the fear talking? What a dumb question. Yeah, it's real music till the day we die, right? Yeah, ain't that the slogan, Nathan? Thought I told you to keep your mouth shut. So again, in the italics here is Nate speaking. I mean, so what? You know I never listen. Let me guess. We gonna dig a hole, kill the track, probably put a beat in it. So like, we're gonna do this thing again. Rap about it for like 3 minutes. Hey, that's pretty deep, isn't it? Wait a minute. You don't really think for a second you're putting me in this. So he's walking him out to a grave. No, of course not. Just a little deeper, then we'll go inside and we can stop digging. Whew, you had me scared for a second. I thought we were digging my grave. Thunk. We did. What? You don't like being afraid? So, speaking of fear, you don't like being afraid? Which I think is, again, if you're going to personify these things, is that like turning the table, which is a really interesting thought, making fear fearful because you're not going to control my life anymore. It's really meaningful. Here's a dose of your own medicine. What? You don't like how it tastes? My therapist told me don't bury my issues, but I'm going to be honest, man, I'm feeling great. Which is obvious. It's two different thoughts, right? Burying it means like never thinking about it. I don't think that's what he's saying. Because a therapist would say like, yeah, you've got these things that are becoming destructive in your life. You can't just act like they're not there. That's the sense of burying. More like sweeping it under the carpet or under the rug. But he's saying like taking control, taking action against you. That does feel great. I think it's only right we go back to where you were created. I wrote a song for Johnny without you, but he ain't gonna like it. Let's see how he takes it. He probably don't even remember us, does he? I'm curious who Johnny is. I can't remember. Oh, okay. In an interview, NF stated my mom's boyfriend was physically abusing me and one of my sisters. On his song Mansion, Nate talks about how he was physically abused, most likely from his mom's boyfriend, thought to be Johnny. He used to put me in the corner so you could see the fear in my eyes. It took me downstairs and beat me till I screamed and I cried. Oh, that's tough. Johnny could very well be the name of the abuser. Nate states he wrote a song for him without his fear, which means he's no longer afraid of the person who abused him. And that's where I'm saying, like, NF is so great at the storytelling and tying these things all together. I wish I was burying anger, but both of us know I'm going to need him for that song. He still lives in the basement. I'm assuming he has a song in mind. Almost done. Should have done this a year ago. And I don't know why I waited. You know how I get. I put everything off in my personal life. You hear what I'm saying? That was a joke. It's hilarious, ain't it? You'll spend the rest of your life in my backyard or back of my mind. Depends how you see it. Very cool. Right? Because, again, the whole themes around Mansion in the future albums is he's trying to paint this story. So it is like, in the story, he is buried. But in reality, it's all in here. It's all in his mind and in his heart. Put the shovel away. Time to go back in the house now. You'll be out in a week. Telling me you want your room back. That's funny. What? You ain't got nowhere to sleep? I'm going to just look out the window and laugh at you. This is crazy to me. Because I thought you had me in prison this whole time. But I'm the one holding the keys. What an awesome ending to that. Because it is the realization. And maybe this can speak to somebody, that's listening to this. That you feel trapped by things in your life. But the reality is, you do hold the keys. You don't feel like you do. And maybe you got to snatch them back. But that you can overcome these things. They don't have to ruin you, run you. You can run them and in a way ruin them, And I think that that's an empowering thought to have and to feel. And so, man, let me know your thoughts on this track. It's really incredible. Really excited to see. It sets a great tone for this album. And we'll have a good conversation in the comments. Thanks for being with me for this one. Hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.